Record breakers, City sets its sights on becoming invincible, making it 19 games unbeaten at the top. Western fights back 3 times to collect all 3 points against Canberra, and the Jets soar to a 3rd straight win, breaking Brisbane's hearts in a stoppage time thriller. Hello and welcome to Dub Zone. I'm Amy Duggan and joined by 2-time championship winner Teresa Polias and A-League's commentator Teo Pellizzeri. Great to have you both here as we wrap up round 19. What was your favourite moment of the round?
I've got to say my favourite moment was Jasmine Black's outstanding performance in Sydney FC's win.
Newcastle, 3 wins in a row. I've been hoping we would see a bit of development from that team, and they finally got some reward for their toil through the season.
Well, if you love action, stick around because 28 goals in 5 matches and some superb strikes. Let's take a look.
A really special round as well. It is Pride Celebration round. It begins tonight, runs until March 30. Zimmerman, oh, that is top draw from Catherine Zimmerman. She has thumped that one into the top corner. Stanich Floody now. Oh, Stanich Floody! Canberra are back in front. Mary Stanich Floody with another cracking goal this season.
O'Donoghue steps up, takes a long-range shot and it's gone in! Oh my goodness me! Lemon. Oh, Abini. Puts it back, plays it through. Princess Abini! Well, she's won it at the death for her Sydney team.
Kruger running into the path of Emma Dundas. Dundas blocking it. Dundas taking a strike. Emma Dundas! And there was absolutely nothing Keely Richards could do. Still, there's Yellett! Tamika Yellett! What an effort!
Here's Stott, now to Bosch, with space to run. Lourdes Bosch bearing down on goal, plays it through to McNamara, and that is City football at its finest. To a midfield battle, and there's the full-time whistle. It's history for Melbourne City. They break the all-time unbeaten record in the A-League Women's, 19 without defeat in the Ninja A-League.
Some great goals there. Let's get into the breakdown of some of that action. We're going to start with Melbourne City taking on Adelaide in what was one of the biggest matches of the round. And to do that, we're welcoming a very special guest today, Melbourne City star Mariana Speckmaier. Thanks for joining us on Dub Zone.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, now City has broken the undefeated streak. We're now sitting at 19, which is a new competition record. You must be hoping that will go all the way to the big dance.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. But yeah, you know, our goal is to continue to win. But I think what has made this so possible is that we don't go into every game wanting to continue the streak. We just go into every game wanting to win that specific game. And I think you see that mentality every time we step on the field.
Mariana, it's Teresa here. The team's got great chemistry out on the pitch, so enjoyable to watch. You're creating plenty of chances, plenty of goals scored. It must be amazing playing alongside the likes of Lourdes Bosch and Holly McNamara.
Yeah, I think you can see how well we've all, like the 3 of us have done together, and Tish as well, and Minnie when she steps on up there. I think we all have our own strengths, and that really works really well for us together, and we just bring out the best in each other, I think, when we're on the field together.
Mariana, what did you learn about Adelaide out of this game? They're almost certainly going to finish in the top 3. There's a very good prospect of them either facing you in the semi-finals or the grand finals. So what's the impression that they've left you with now that you've faced them twice?
I mean, I think both games against them were tough games. Obviously, I think a lot of the goals in this past game were a bit strange, but either way, it's going to be a tough battle. They're clearly a very good group, but it's exciting. It's what you want.
As we look at some of the goals that Adelaide scored, I mean, Rebecca Stott, your captain, mentioned after the game, it's a rarity to have conceded 3 in a single match. Was that something that the team has spoken about since? You say the goals were strange. I think it must be a strange feeling for you because you just don't concede that many.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think if you look, yeah, we haven't conceded 3 goals in any game this season, so it definitely was a bit weird, but I think we kept a strong mentality to with all of that to still get the win.
Is it part of the attitude there at Melbourne City that it's okay if we concede some goals, Mariana, because we're just going to outscore the opposition?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. We don't go into games like wanting to concede goals, but I think we know that if we do, we're more than capable of coming back and winning.
Mariana, I wanted to ask a question not about football, but I'm intrigued. What would you be doing if you weren't playing football?
Oh, God. So I studied finance and accounting in university, so probably something along the lines of that at a bank.
And probably also at the beach, Mariana, because I've heard that you don't mind the hot weather and you're a bit of a sun seeker.
No, yeah. I mean, I grew up in Miami, so weekends on the beach is pretty normal for me. So I love being out in the sun.
Speaking of Miami, there was a lot of speculation, particularly from the Kiwis in the off-season, when it looked like you were leaving Wellington, that the lure of NWSL or even the USL might be too strong to pass up. So it's great to have you in Australia. How much of a factor was the Melbourne City pull, but also getting to live in Melbourne as well as a reason that you stayed in the Ninja A-League?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I've been in the NWSL. The USL was a new league, so I didn't want to just jump to a new league that I didn't understand. And I think I had such a good season last year that being in this league was really going to continue to help me grow as a player. And I mean, Melbourne City has that, just that winning mentality, and that I really, really loved watching last season. And as amazing as my time in Wellington was, I wanted to go somewhere where I felt could help me continue to progress as a player.
They do miss you, though, and you've still got to go there and play as an away player. Has that one been marked in the calendar, given that you would have seen how they treated, for instance, a different superstar, Courtney Vine, last season?
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to the game. It'll be really nice to be back in Wellington, in Porirua. I lived like 5 minutes from that stadium, so it really was home for me in that area.
Well, a home away from home when you face them again, Mariana. Let's talk about the coach's influence. You said you wanted to move clubs to strengthen yourself as a player. What sort of influence has your coach had over you and over this squad this season?
Yeah, I think obviously last year I played as a striker, and this year I've been put more as a winger. So continues just to help me grow and develop my game. Dropping off, being an option, or coming inside, running in behind. I just think it's continued to grow my game as a player, but also all of us, some of us are not used to the positions we're in, and we've all adapted really well and have grown, I think, overall. I think you can see that from our first game to now.
Well, with all due respect, I think as a centre forward, that's where we've seen your best performances this season. So what are some of the challenges that you're trying to overcome on the wing, and what is it that you are hoping to achieve, given that obviously City is spoilt for choice? A player like Pollicina on the bench means there's obviously a lot of competition. So what are you trying to get out of playing in that new role?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I actually grew up playing on the wing. So I didn't become a striker until I was in college. So it's just kind of going back to the way that I used to play. But I really enjoy being out there. Gives me more options. Don't have to always have my back to goal. I've enjoyed being out on the wing.
You've got a big Asian Champions League fixture coming up. Tell us how the squad's feeling about that.
Oh, yeah, we're all really excited. Obviously, I think, we're continuing to make history with this as well, being the first Australian club to host a quarterfinal in the Asian Champions League. So I think we're all really excited, looking forward to it.
You have been quite an adventurous player yourself in your career, playing in Russia, for example, the trip to New Zealand, now Australia, away trips in Asia. What are your ambitions from here? Because you've already got to experience, South American international football as well. So is there anything left on the bucket list to tick off, or is perhaps the big prize of winning a continental trophy like the Champions League the one that you really want?
Obviously, winning trophies like that, I think every player aspires to win trophies at that manner. But I just want to continue to grow as a player and enjoy what I'm doing. So if that leads me to staying here or going to Europe or back to America, we'll see what happens. But just taking it one day at a time.
Well, we have absolutely enjoyed watching you play so far this season, Mariana, in the sky blue shirt. All the best on the weekend against Hai Chung Blue Whales. And thanks for joining us on Dub Zone.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
All right, pretty amazing, and we're focused on Melbourne City there, but probably time too to have a look at Adelaide. Didn't come away with the chocolates in this one, but certainly not disgraced, and the first side to put 3 goals past Melbourne City, so some positives there, T.
Absolutely, a lot of positives to take away. They kept the tenacity was there, the fight back was there. Lots to improve on. I think they would have been disappointed with a couple of the goals they conceded in that game, but there's a bit of time, between now and finals for them to tweak those issues.
There's a clear height disparity between the two teams, and we saw Adelaide's threat at set pieces.
Yeah.
It's something that they spoke about post-game, that they were looking to exploit even more than they did. So, on maybe stadium conditions of Amy Park, where there's going to be less influence of wind, maybe less influence of the elements, if these two meet in a grand final, do you think we'll see a dramatically different game?
I mean, it's a mouth-watering thought that, but the venue would play a massive role. Those 1%ers when it comes to set pieces can turn things around. So, I think Adelaide will move forward knowing that that's not the end. I think, they'll be thinking they'll be seeing Melbourne City again.
Well, they certainly pushed them all the way in that 7-goal thriller, only going down 4-3. Let's hear from Lucia Leon post-match.
We always want to put ourselves in a position where we can get something out of the game. That's what we've been trying to do this whole season. So we know we have the physicality and the quality in a team to be pushing forward rather than just defend and try and create opportunities for us to score goals. So this was another game that we wanted to see whether we can put ourselves in a very, very good position to eventually win the game, of course. I think playing them twice now, we get to know the players that we're playing against and we get to know where we can hurt them. And I think we did today a lot more than what we did when we played them on the first leg. So it will be an exciting finals for the teams at the top for sure, and another team that we'll be looking forward to play against again.
Yeah, it certainly will be a big matchup when those two meet again. Lucia Leon there wrapping up Adelaide United's loss to Melbourne City. Let's move on to another 7-goal thriller because we love them here on Ninja A-League and certainly on the Dub Zone, going through all the goals. 7 more coming your way now. Western United hosted Canberra and had to come from behind 3 times to eventually take the win with our last-minute goal.
Yeah, look, this fixture always has the potential for chaos and it really delivered in that game, didn't it, Teo?
It's funny because at half-time, it was 1-0 to Canberra. I think Canberra, the subs they made, destabilised the game and allowed Western United to eventually overrun them. But they showed great resilience to be able to keep their nose in front and take the lead 3 times. And I think a product of that, unfortunately, T, is that Western United's defence is still the leakiest in the competition. And the quality of the goals Western had to score to get themselves back in the game was extraordinary.
I mean, it was such an exciting game. But look, Canberra will take away that positive in that they did take the lead 3 times. So moving forward, that's something that they'll build on.
So a league's worst defence, Teo, but they are still 4th on the table. How are Western United getting away with this? Maybe thanks to some bangers like we've seen.
Well, I think the difference in this game compared to when they lost to Perth, as we see the winning goal here, which went down as an own goal, but all of their attackers contributed. They had 6 different players have a shot on target. We were speaking a week ago about Chloe Lagazzo having to do the heavy lifting. She had 3 shots, none on target. So for them to have 3 different scorers plus Chiara Di Domizio set up the own goal, it's like it was an immediate turnaround response to what was deficient against Perth.
And an answer to the loss of Carly Johnson. So it's good to see all their attackers stepping up and getting the job done.
And they'll have some time to fix their defence. But let's talk about Canberra because they've now conceded back-to-back losses, 3 draws in their last 5 games and have now dropped out of the 6 into 7th.
I still think they're only 2 wins away from a certain finals berth, and they were agonisingly close to one of them here.
They've been outstanding considering all those challenges, and my only worry is them keeping that stability moving forward.
Let's focus on next week because they host Sydney FC and they will want all the points from this one.
Yeah, and it's really hard to travel down to Mackellar and get the points there, so that's their fortress.
With the sky blue hat on again.
They need those points, and look, they're not completely out of it. They're still within touching distance of finals.
All right, well, let's hear from Catherine Zimmerman because she scored an absolute screamer.
It's just, really good to be back playing sort of consistently. It's been a frustrating few years. I'm just trying to drink a lot of milk. I thought milk is good for your bones. That's what I was taught growing up. So I'm just trying to have a glass of milk every night.
Catherine, on a serious note, what's been the hardest thing about the last 3 years? What have you found most challenging?
I think just, injuries probably, knowing that I'm towards the end side of my career. I'm getting older. I'm one of the older girls on the team, so every injury kind of just, it's a little bit harder. Mentally it's kind of just tough to deal with, but I have a lot of good friends around me, good teammates that still make it enjoyable even if, you're out on the sidelines. So that helps get me through it, I guess.
Can't believe she's not smiling more after scoring a goal like that. But, conceding she's in the twilight of her career, and the secret to coming back from injury is milk.
Yeah, I think she's been pretty hard on herself there. I think she's been outstanding for any club she's gone to in the league. But this year for Western, she scored some bangers.
No, but you would appreciate that, once you hit 30, the stress of time out of the game with a prolonged injury, Amy, you wonder how many more major blows and rehabs you have in you, especially when
it does become harder
a foot
and
injury,
harder to come back.
Feet and lower body injuries, they're difficult to come back from.
Yeah, they are. It does become harder and harder, but I didn't drink enough milk, clearly. All right, let's stick on that theme and find out what's cooking on socials with Narlene Masto, thanks to Ninja.
I'm Narlene Masto with what's cooking on socials and in the world of women's football. Brought to you by the Ninja Woodfire Outdoor Oven, which can turn any space into an outdoor kitchen. Over in the Ninja A-League, we saw an example of what happens when you celebrate a little too hard. After Western United scored their winner against Canberra United, goalkeeper Alyssa Daloste ran onto the pitch to celebrate and accidentally headbutted one of her teammates. She then got booked for running onto the pitch, so it was a bit of a very unfortunate series of events, but I'm sure it was all worth it at the end. During the week, Adelaide United goalkeeper Claudia Jenkins declared to play for New Zealand. The 26-year-old, who also qualifies to represent Australia, was selected in the Football Ferns squad ahead of their clash against Chinese Taipei next month. For weeks, you've seen me next to the Ninja Woodfire Outdoor Oven, and we're about to see it in action because Melbourne Victory star Alana Yonchevsky filmed a quick how-to video on her Instagram story showing step-by-step just how easy it is to make artisan pizzas in just a few minutes. And the end result will have you craving a fresh wood-fire pizza. And on that note, it's time to head back to the Dub Zone panel.
Thank you, Narlene. And isn't it great to see our players making the most of the Ninja Woodfire Pizza Oven as well? We've got a show all about food today, it appears. Let's talk about a team that is absolutely on fire, and that is Newcastle. Can you believe this? 3 straight wins and stealing the points from Brisbane at Perry Park.
Yeah, a lot of momentum going their way now. They're high on confidence, a couple of great strikes as well. It's another exciting game.
I feel like Newcastle have left their run for the top 6 maybe just a game or two too late, but they need more upsets. Like they look at a game away to Victory this weekend, for example. That's become a must-win as opposed to a nice-to-have. But this was a resilient performance where they came from behind. And T, I think the detail that stood out to me is Brisbane completed 362 passes, Newcastle 211. So earlier in the season, when Newcastle were trying to outpass opponents and play possession style of football, and Lauren Allen said this after the game, they went back to a more counter-attacking transition style, and Brisbane were not able to beat them playing in a contrasting fashion.
Yeah, it's worked for them going direct again. The players like Lauren Allen in the last few weeks, she's found more form and goals.
Well, plenty of celebrations too, because as you said, coming from behind to steal the points away, it's a massive moment. They have left their run a little bit late, but the celebrations were something to be admired. You can see how much goals and points mean to this team.
Well, we know that this has been coming with Newcastle. It's yet another game where they've created 6 major chances, according to the Opta data, to 1. And they have scored 3 goals to show for it, but with 5 minutes to go, they're leaving with 1 goal from that many chances. So it's yet another game where they have have really created a lot of opportunities to score. We have to give credit to Emma Dundas, 17 years old, missed out on the most recent, but she missed out on the most recent Young Matildas squad, and since then she's played 3 full 90s and been a really excellent player. So I think even in season, you're seeing this Newcastle team trying to prove points to themselves individually and broadly with their results as a squad.
It shows their character, doesn't it? And it's not like they've been so entertaining all season. So now they're being rewarded for it.
Not always for a good reason.
No, not always, but they have in games created chances, big chances, like Teo said, and they're getting rewarded for it finally.
Well, what does a loss mean for Brisbane? Because it does mean that they've now lost 9 games, so more than they've won, which is 8, but somehow they're remaining in the top 6. We saw Momo Hayashi return for her first start since round 12 and certainly added some impetus to the team.
Definitely. I think just the amount of interruptions they've had in the team, players are coming back now, players have come back now, but it's been hard for them to regain that chemistry that they had at the beginning of the season. That aggression is just not there at the moment, and obviously the confidence isn't there.
I'm going to actually go the other way on this. Brisbane, as long as they beat Western Sydney Wanderers when they play them at Perry Park, the other 3 games are free hits. I mean, you need to get, I think, to 30 points to make the finals. If they win 2 more and they get to 28-31, that's a guarantee.
But they've got to win them, Teo. They're just struggling to win at the moment. That's the problem.
No, but I think take the pressure off. Away to Adelaide, that's a freebie.
Is it?
I absolutely think that.
Well, I don't think they'll be approaching it like
who's
that.
catching
There's
them? No one around the league. They are still sitting 5th.
That game's gone. We'll just,
No, they're still sitting 5th. I think this team has, picked and chose at times when which games to put an emphasis on, and they need to put all the emphasis on the Western Sydney Wanderers game.
I don't think it works like that, Teo. I don't think you just get to switch it on whenever you feel like. I think you
but they're still sitting above more than half the league in spite of doing that.
Because of their early efforts early in the season. It's fallen away now, and that's the issue. That's what we
I'm
need
not
to...
so sure
They're missing 8 players out of their team throughout the season, which has had a massive impact on those early results. But I also disagree. You don't go out there hoping for a result. You go out there to win every single...
I'm telling you, they only need to win 1 more game and they'll play finals. The pressure is totally off.
Madness,
the pressure is
Teo,
off
madness.
The disappointment on their face following the game said it all. Let's focus on Tamika Yallop, though. It did an amazing job to score a brace, but had to be subbed off in the 78th minute with an injury.
Yeah, really troubling to see that, because she's been such a leader. Obviously having a player like Tamika Yallop out there, they want her out there every week, so very concerning. Hopefully it's nothing too serious.
All right, let's now hear from Newcastle's Lauren Allen with the secret to their recent success.
I think we've kind of just gone back to, we started out the season pressing quite hard, really attacking mindset. We've dropped back to a bit more defensive and playing a bit more of that transitioning sort of game, and I think that's playing well with the type of players we have. Just like I said, going out there with that little bit of pressure off and just kind of finding the love for the game again. And I think we're all coming together well.
Is the dream still alive within the squad, thinking you can make the top 6?
It's always got to be there. If you're an athlete, you always want to drive to be the best. And I think coming off a win like this against a strong team like Brisbane, who is in the top 4, there's always a chance. I don't see why not. And as an athlete, you always want to be the best.
Well, Newcastle trying to keep the dream alive, but maybe they've left their run just a little bit late. 2 other teams who fought it out on Friday night, Central Coast Mariners and Perth Glory, 6 goals between them in this game, but they eventually had to share the points. Was it a fair result?
I think so. It's just interesting to see the Mariners continue to slip away. They had that win, and now the draw's just not enough for them. And Perth, away from home, I thought they put in a good performance.
Both teams led, so both teams will feel as though they had the opportunity to win the game, which would have made a massive difference for Perth as far as trying to make this late run to the finals. And the Mariners, again, they're one of those teams like the Roar. They're dangling. They're 1 win away, maybe a win and a draw away from punching their ticket to the finals. So both teams will be frustrated that they let the lead slip.
It was youngsters in this match that really stood out to me, and so great to see, 16 and 17-year-olds and young forwards coming forward and picking up goals. I'm talking about Annalise Rasmussen, of course, Tiana Fuller, again with the 5th goal for her this season.
Yeah, the Mariners manage their youngsters amazingly well. I can recall Rasmussen coming into the league and not getting many minutes, but, she's obviously worked really hard, and they've done wonders for her as a player. And obviously Tiana Fuller, another goal. She's been sensational.
And then this is the equaliser, but Sarah O'Donoghue had just a monster performance, 2 goals and the assist there for the equaliser deep in stoppage time. And this is a player who's moved from Brisbane to Melbourne to play in the NPL, from her hometown Brisbane now to Perth to play in the Ninja A-League. She was in the Young Matildas mix, but never really a chance of going to Colombia for the Under-20 World Cup. And she's overcome injury this season, T, to be a very, very good attacking midfielder for this Perth team.
Yeah, I've noticed her ability to be in the right place, at the right times, enabled her to score really important goals for Perth. So yeah, she's been outstanding.
Central Coast Mariners almost peaked too soon, I feel like, is the slogan for them this season. Such an outstanding start to the season, but Emily Husband now has some worries. 3 losses, 2 draws in the last 5, just picking up 2 points from possibly 15. It's not a great start for them.
Yeah, another team with a lot of interruptions in terms of players injured and leaders in that as well. So I think it's a bit of a mental battle for them at this stage.
One thing I have noticed, and Sarah Langman had, I think, gone under the radar, a very good keeper, having a very good season, but don't you notice it when there's a slip in a game like this, particularly the first goal, maybe arguably the third goal as well. Last season, we had Em Husband juggling Casey Dumont and Sarah Langman, and away to Wellington next. Wellington score a lot of goals from corners and from crosses and headers. It's going to be windy at Pororua Park. Last season, Em Husband was saying, I'll pick the best goalkeeper for the opponent. This season, Chloe Carmichael's never made an appearance and Teresa Morrissey's never made an appearance. So 2 backups that are totally untested at the Ninja A-League level. And it's Sarah Langman from here. So I think that they need their goalkeeper and their defence to come back to what made them great. About a month ago, they had the best defence in the league, and they're not in that conversation anymore.
Well, I don't think Sarah Langman put a foot wrong up until sort of now, where I think
that's my point, though. All it takes is one little piece of the jigsaw, and all of a sudden the team maybe is at the tipping point.
Yeah, and I think that's what's showing now is their mental status is showing in even someone like Sarah Langman. It's filtered into her as well.
Winning becomes a habit, but so does losing.
Absolutely.
Perhaps in this case. And Perth will face the Wanderers next week, and they'll be desperate for all 3 points there too. Well, let's hear from stand-in captain Annabelle Martin on the style of play for this game.
Yeah, they're a physical team, and I think we are as well. So it was always going to be a physical match, especially when finals are on the line. I think, heading to this back end of the season, we'll see a lot of physical games and a lot of aggression out there. And I know for us, we want to play with that. We think we play our best when we're out there and we're pressing and when we're aggressive. So, I want to say props to the girls for being able to fight back and get a goal up. Obviously disappointing to, again, not come out with the 3 points, but that fight's there and we build our brand on that. So as much as right now it's not too many smiles going around, I'm sure, like I said, we are proud of that, and it's good that we can do that.
Annabelle Martin almost happy with 1 point there against Perth Glory, and interesting to hear her talk about the physicality in the game in that match. Time to get excited here on the Dub Zone, because Teresa hasn't had too much to smile about this season, but she will be jumping for joy after Sydney FC's result on the weekend. Wellington really withering, and that 98th minute goal to Princess Abini getting the job done.
Yeah, this is normally the part where I cop a bit of stick, but today I'm going to be graceful, and it was a great game from Sydney. Great goal from Maddie Caspers on her 18th birthday as well, which would be a highlight for her. And I've got to say that the most outstanding thing in the game was the performance of Jasmine Black in goals. Outstanding.
Well, Sydney FC, I think that Wellington had only a very short burst of momentum where they were the better team definitively in this contest, and Sydney got just reward at the end for pushing right to the finish line, 98th minute winner.
Do you know what I love about this goal, T? I love that Abini could see in the first instance where she gets the ball and probably could have had the shot earlier, but decides to take the touch, move the defender and make it so much easier for herself.
Yeah, that's, her experience showing there, and for Abby Lemon to tee her up beautifully was great. But I thought Wellington dominated the early, opening 20 minutes, say, and then Sydney came into the game. And then at the end, Wellington had a lot of momentum, which Sydney had to keep them out. Jasmine Black stood up, and then a couple good subs. Princess Abini,
I wouldn't use the word dominate. I think maybe just a season of struggle means that a team even just playing a fairly normal game against Sydney FC has maybe changed your perspective of how well they had to play to beat them.
Perhaps, but the way I saw it, I thought Wellington had a lot of chances towards the end.
No, I'm going the other way. I thought this was a bit of a meek surrender from Wellington. I mean, they were playing away at the bottom team.
Trying to make finals.
No, but that's the thing. I appreciate the conditions were difficult, but I just don't think that they brought their best performance to this game.
One thing that was difficult, in that heat as well. For Wellington, I think they feel it a lot more than other teams, being from where they come from as well.
Well, no, they weren't far off in the game, but they're playing the last place team that most other teams have been able to get points off this year. So relative to the rest of the competition, if they want to play finals, they missed out here.
They definitely did, but a last place team, yes, but they've got players with the ability to do things, as you saw, Princess Abini, Maddie Caspers, and in that game they were able to.
And Jasmine Black.
Outstanding.
Who did well and creates a headache now for her coach.
Yeah, I mean, now Auntie's got to think. If he was thinking of going experienced next season with the goalkeeper, this game was like a career starter for her. Absolutely outstanding.
If you remember last week, she came on as a substitute goalkeeper and stood up well, but really has grabbed the chance and seen it as an opportunity and took it with both hands.
She did. She really did.
I am keeping the faith with Talia Franco. Yes, Jasmine Black, outstanding, and great to see her have a good game. I still think that Talia Franco has a lot to offer, specifically Sydney FC in the Ninja A-League. And if they find the right goalkeeper, whether it's an Australian returning to the country or whether it's an international import, I imagine that it would be a waste if both of Jasmine Black and Talia Franco are vying to be the number 2 next season. If they are 1-2 battling each other, great. But if one of them moves on at the end of this season, Jasmine's put in a great audition.
Well, that's the headache, isn't it, Teo? Do they get someone experienced and keep one of the two, or keep them both to battle it out next season?
Yeah, two other teams that were unfortunately sidelined on the weekend, Western Sydney Wanderers and Victory. That one delayed due to the heat and will be replayed at a later stage at a date yet to be determined. So let's take a look at the ladder. Speaking to Mariana Speckmaier earlier, we know that Melbourne City is still sitting clear, 5 points clear, in fact, on top of the ladder against Victory. Long time since we've seen two Melbourne teams at the top, Teo, perhaps. Adelaide chasing hard there, and we'll be hoping for all 3 points to put them back into the top 2 this weekend. Western United, Brisbane Roar and Central Coast Mariners rounding out the top 6.
I asked you last week who's going to win 2 more games. Well, the only one in that stretch between 4th and 8th was Western United at the weekend. So is that enough? Have they punched their ticket to finals, or are they still at risk?
They're at risk.
That -7 goal difference.
You know who stands out to me at the moment? It's the Jets. 2 more wins and they're right up there in amongst it.
They got a tough run home.
Tough run home, but they can do it. They can do it.
Who are they up against?
High on confidence.
Well, we're about to find out. They've got Victory away this weekend.
Well, that's what kicks off Friday night, does it not? Yes, at the home of Matildas. Melbourne Victory looking for all 3 points to remain at the top of the ladder against the Newcastle Jets, or perhaps the Jets will cause an upset. We will have to wait and see. Saturday, Wellington Phoenix at Pororua Park against the Central Coast Mariners. That'll be a cracker, won't it? Canberra United against Sydney FC. Tough road trip to Canberra, who will be looking to bounce back after those 2 losses. And then Perth and Western Sydney Wanderers to fight it out at the Sam Kerr Football Centre. That one kicking off at 8 p.m. Round out the rounds with Adelaide United and Brisbane Roar. This one coming to you from Cooper Stadium. Of course, all matches on 10 Play and Paramount Plus. And good luck to Melbourne City as well as they take on Taichung Blue Whale this weekend in the Champions League.
The season for Taichung Blue Whale doesn't start until April, so they will have had to do different preparation for this game. Watch out for Siloan Intami. Matildas fans will remember her playing for Thailand and causing us some headaches in the past. That's one of the star players. The team is from Chinese Taipei, but the Thai international Siloan, that's one of their stars to watch out for this weekend.
We wish them all the best of luck. Let's find out now what's happening on Total A-Leagues.
Coming up on Total A-Leagues, a huge show. We've got the Socceroos squad. Sydney FC are making history in Asia, a record amount of goals and one of the quotes of the season. Alex Bross joins me to talk about all that and more. Broski, your highlight from the weekend just gone?
A couple of highlights. I think, look, as a former player, I think obviously Sydney, what they're doing in Asia, making the semi-finals of the Asian Champions League 2, that's a real highlight for the club, and great scenes after they beat Jumbuk there. So I think that one, and then looking forward to the Socceroos, I think it's huge to have the boys back on home soil, looking to take care of business and get closer to qualifying. Big week.
Big week. Looking forward to cracking into it with you, mate. Total A-Leagues every Wednesday on the A-Leagues YouTube channel and the website.
Yeah, thank you, Vince and Broski. Lots to look out for there and lots coming up this weekend. What is the moment you're both looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to, I called out the Jets, so them taking on Victory after a week off for the victory, so I think they might pip them.
Fascinated by this Wellington versus Central Coast game, a classic 6-point game for the winner. Massive opportunity in finals. A draw leaves the door open to any one of 4 or 5 other teams.
Well, after disagreeing on so much today, can we agree that our action all around will be great in the Ninja A-League?
Definitely, friends.
And don't forget, you can catch all the action on 10 Play and Paramount Plus. That's it for the Dub Zone. A big thank you to Teresa Polias and Teo Pellizzeri for their input today, and we'll see you same time, same place next week.